Amen.
Dr. Lee, you have some important people on this web tonight. I'm looking at some of these names. You've got some of Bellfort's very best that's on with us tonight.
Yes, indeed.
We got our preacher on. We got our bishop on, both of our bishops. I'm just excited for your presence tonight. Got our deacons. So good to see so many of them. Got my daughter. Look at you. Look at you. Got our new brother, Deuces. All right.
Wonderful. Okay, you can go ahead and start, Mary.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Welcome back for those of you who are joining us for the second in our series of workshops on financial literacy. For those of you joining us for the first time, I'm so happy that you're here with us on this journey. Tonight, of course, our facilitator is Manly. He was with us last week as well. For those who may not be very familiar, especially if you're coming on for the first time tonight, he's been doing this for 25 years. He is a licensed financial advisor, a coach and trainer. And I said he's been with the company doing this for 25 years. So we're starting a little bit, a few minutes behind tonight because we were waiting for all the platforms to be up and running. So I won't take any more of your time. So I'll hand it over now to Manly for workshop 2 for us tonight.
Wonderful. Thank you, Nairi. Well, first of all, praise the Lord. Thank you for also Pastor Glenn has also opened up these workshops that I have a chance to share with you today. It's really my privilege and also honor to be here with you tonight. Some of you probably already listened to the last workshops, which is a series of 6 workshops we would like to also bring to the church. One of the area that I believe that we need to be strong is financially. Right. Could you try again? But actually, before we start, I share with Pastor Glenn that whatever we do, we need to be strong spiritually first. And of course, once we be able to be strong spiritually, make sure that we also improve on our mental capacity. Right? We need to also make sure that we have a great balanced life. Beside that, we also need to make sure that we keep ourselves strong physically. Right. But one area that we also need to be strong, which is financial. And today I have a chance to also, be the host today to share with you some of these concepts. For me, I work in this industry for the past 25 years. Prior to this, I was a chemical engineer, right? Working, try to earn a living, making good money. But after almost 17 years working as an engineer, I started to realize that my financial situation is not where it's supposed to. So I was blessed that be able to, in terms of introduced to what I'm doing today 25 years ago. And one thing that I realized that, I need to make sure that I change. One thing that I learned that, ignorance is not an excuse, and of course, knowledge is need to come with that. And I was lucky enough, not only I learned, but I know how to apply those financial concepts and during those past 25 years, be able to help quite a few families to also be able to acquire that and put them to work. Right. So today's workshop is, again, part of the 6 series that we want to make sure that we bring to you. Each workshop is actually independently. Right, so you don't have to worry that you have to go through any prerequisite one, right? Because each of them is pretty much just kind of like, have the content that fit into the certain what I consider aspects of finance that we need to be strong, right? And of course, in conjunction with the workshop, we also have the workbooks And I know that, Pastor Glenn was able to also acquire a few. So if you need it, please, come to the church and be able to get that. We also have an electronic also version if you need it. But at the same time, right, not only the what we call the Saving Your Future books, which we have actually in 4 different languages. Right, we have it in English, we have it in Spanish, we have it in Chinese, if you can read Chinese, but we also have it in Vietnamese because I was a Vietnamese, right? But anyway, right, doesn't matter whatever the language, the content, which in this case, the concept, the information is important. Just like the Bible is being translated into hundreds of different languages. But what is the content of, the what you call, the teachings of the law is the key, right? So when it comes to financial, it's the same thing. And of course, right, not only that we need to learn, the concept, right, but we need to also make sure that we know how to implement it. And for me, knowledge without implementation, right, is also not really valued. So please, not only that acquire the knowledge, but make sure, implementation is the key. And we also have what we call a workbook, come along with those, in terms of Saving Your Future book, which is helping you to practice, after every session that we share with you, just like today. So if you would like to, contact to Pastor Glenn, or you can also contact to Sister Nari, right? So we can probably maybe make a copy of the workshop of the workbooks and those, in terms of sheet that applicable to the workshop that you attended, right? So that you can practice that. All right. Other than that, let me go ahead and start with the workshop, and I would change it to the screen, right? Okay, let me go ahead and make sure that I do that. Okay, hold on. So let me share that with you today. All right, let me share that and see if you can receive it. Okay. 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 All right. So, today workshop is we'll focus more on what we call cash flow and manage debt. All right. So let me go ahead and before we start, we have a few disclaimer to make sure that we are on the same page. The information in this presentation should not be interpreted as accounting, investment, legal, or tax advice. Right? It's not an offer to sell or to solicit you to buy any security, any insurance, or any other financial product, even those that we are a financial profession. Right? The workshop is for educational purpose only, and our national campaign for financial literacy is to bring the financial awareness, right, and education to all. Of course, we look at about 1 hour time frame, so you will not learn everything during the course of this workshop. However, we hope that you learn and gain more confidence, right, and take action toward reaching your goals, being part of our campaign, and we encourage you to help empower other people to do the same, right, and to help us, right, to preserve the integrity and context of information. Right, please do not take any photos, videos, or record this workshop. Right, we appreciate that. All right. So now, why we carry this campaign? Because we believe that financial education is not an option; it's a necessity. See, so we committed as an organization, right, to educating, and empowering 30 million families by 2030. Yeah, we just recently hit our first milestone, with about 1 million family educated last year. So now we upgrade that goal, right? And of course, right, we want to invite you to be part of the campaign that is revolutionizing the financial industry, right? Built with a system that bridge, right, financial education and financial independence, which we believe that everybody deserves, right, to become. And then you can see that, throughout, I mean, if you look at that, every day, right, we are flooded, right, with all the informations about, finance, right? But many people that offer financial advice, they are not licensed or they don't have any industry experience, right? And so you can see that, if you look at that a lot of people also share it on YouTube, on all the platform media, Instagram, right? And of course, some people in what we call the old industry, let's say a financial advisor, they maybe only focuses in one or two aspects of your finance. But we try to help you to look at the total picture, right? We call a holistic approach, and our workshop educate and empower you to become your own money manager, because we believe that the person that ultimately be responsible for anybody's future is he or herself. We agree. So unless we have the knowledge, the understanding, then we can control our own finance. And if you control your finance, you will control your future. And then for that, right, one thing I would like to ask you is just look at in terms of where would you like to be 5 years from now? And I think it's very important, right, that we need to have that vision as our goal, because in order for us to reach what we want, we need to see clearly, right? What is your net worth, right, would be like, and or what would be your retirement look like, in 5 years from now, right? And more important, would you agree with me that what is our plan to achieve these goals, right? Having a vision for you and your families, right, and have a goal that frequently review will help you, right, to stay on track and be able to reach your goal financially. So workshop number 2 today, right, we will focus more on increase your cash flow and debt management. What you will learn, I think it's very simple. Some of the very for me, small thing that we discover that can change our financial future. Let's say maybe we can discover an extra $100 or more, right, that you didn't know that you have, right? Or find out where your money is going, or build a plan, a realistic plan, so that you can get out of debt, right, sooner or faster, right? In addition to that, right, how to increase, the cash flow. So again, we know that money isn't, the greatest asset, but you know what applied knowledge is. And with that, right, I'd like to share with you how, for us to increase our cash flow, there's only 2 ways for you to increase your cash flow. Number one, either we spend less, which is require discipline. Will you agree with me? And second, right, we can earn more, which is required that we need to improve ourselves, or we had to be a little more frugal, right? So that, hey, because it's not about how much money you make. It's how much you keep is a key. Would you agree with me that many people who make a lot of money, but at the end they are broke, like those athletes who have multi-million-dollar contract, right? But when they finish their career, most of them is broke. Or you can see those people that who won a jackpot 5 years, 10 years later, they are broke. They have money, but they don't know how to keep it. And for me, that's much more important than just to make money, right? In addition to that, right, we like you to also kind of like, we like to introduce you to one of the very, for me, fundamental concept that we all need to look at, which is what? Pay ourselves first, right? Take a look at, there's 2 paths here. One is we save first and then we spend, right? I think that path will help us to become financially independent. But you know what? Majority of us, we agree that we are kind of like get used to, I think, the second path, which is what? We spend first, right? And then we attempt to save. And of course, it's very difficult for us to be able to become financially independent if we follow this path, right? Probably we have to work for the rest of our life, because every time we make money, we spend them. You agree? So when we look at that, right, pay yourself first, right, to your family, to your children, to your future. It's very important. Now, the key thing here is pay to yourself first, then spend what is left is the key. Don't just spend first and spend what is and save what is left, because that is not the right priority. See, so the question I would like to ask you, right? Have I saved at least 10% of this month's income yet? Well, everything is a habit, right? So we need to learn to find a way so that we can save more and spend less. I think it's not a miracle that we can have money overnight, right? It all depends on how we be able to, for me, develop the habits. So one of the things that I would like to do is you can take a snapshot of the screen and find out, hey, where is our money going? Let's say for today, right? You can list down, some of these items, and sometimes you see some of the money that goes somewhere that maybe you're not aware of or you're not controlled properly, right? Right? Hey, go out there and eat lunch. Go out there and maybe buy something impulsively, right? So the key thing here is paying, right, is more convenient than ever today. Will you agree? Because why? Because you can look at all the credit card, you don't see the money, and because of that, right, sometimes we lose control on how much we spend. So ask yourself this question: if I pay with credit, am I able to pay it off in full? See, a lot of people, they use credit card, but if we use credit card conveniently every time without knowing that if we can spend or not, guess what? We buy things we don't need, we spend them we don't have. But if we know that we will pay it off full, then it's okay, because sometimes it's not good to carry cash all the time. Would you agree? So the question is again, did I spend my money wisely? That's the key. And for that, right, I like to also, we have what we call a personal financial strategy. And if you get a chance, you can also get this and work with Nairi or me. We can provide you. So at least we can have a template, right, to look at where we at financially, right? Where our money go, where the money coming in, where does it go, so that we can see if there's any leak, right? Because if we don't know where's the leak at, guess what? It's very difficult for us to be able to retain any money. Would you agree with me? Right? So again, it is important to reevaluate where your money go every month. Remember, we change things frequently. So it's very important for us to also understand and budget ourselves, right? So check your progress, right? If you are saving up, or you're paying down on your debt, or is any new possible of savings? Very important. And you know what? Sometimes automatic payment reoccurring is good, right? Just like if you have money, you work for a company and they have a 401k, if they take money out from your paycheck, automatically, you know what? That's great. Because why? Because you know that, hey, you can be able to, the money is already taken out and put it to work for you. But sometimes, right, we buy things, right, and we charge this, automatic. So guess what? Because we don't keep track of it, so we added more, also those payments, and we spend money that sometimes we're not even aware of. Maybe a magazine subscription that we may not need, right, or a lot. I'm still, remember, when I, every single kind of like a new year, right? Sometimes we feel guilty. I want to get back to the gym, and I give them, I sign up with them. They have automatic what you call, charge every month, so that I can go to the gym. But sometimes, I didn't go to the gym anymore, but they keep charging. Well, so you see that because we don't know where's our money going, it's very difficult for us to keep track. Would you agree? So here, how do we reevaluate our expense? And of course, if we be able to go through the list and what you see here, right, it's a lot of things that you can actually, right, be able to save a few dollars here and there, right? Let's say that if you have a tax refund this year, right, you can adjust what is taken from your paycheck. So guess what? Now you can take the money out a little bit early, so that we can put it to investment, and that way we can earn some gain. Otherwise, we may be able to get a good refund at the end of the year, and we don't get earning any interest on that. Guess what? You will spend that already for maybe a vacation that you plan, rather than, hey, take a little bit money out every single month ahead and put it to work for you, right? Or, hey, 1 or 2 degree, right, in the house. I don't think that is that much uncomfortable. If you keep 1 or 2 degree, maybe, warmer, right, during the summer, or a little bit cooler during the winter, that can save us a lot of money on the energy bill. Would you agree? Of course. How many times did you see that we have a whole bunch of premium cable that we don't have time to watch, and we spend hundreds of dollars on it? And one thing, that use coupon, for grocery or dining out, you save $5-10 easily, right? And of course, some of the other unnecessary, habit, like, maybe that latte at Starbucks, or maybe, going out on a what we call happy hour for those alcohol, or if you smoke, guess what? Reduce it, or you can stop it. I don't think it will kill us. Would you agree with me? As a matter of fact, make us more healthy. And of course, right? A lot. Eat out early. Choose happy hour menu, right? Pack your own lunch, right? Buy a used car. Don't buy a new car that by the time you drive out the parking lot, you already lost money, right? Or reevaluate on your home auto insurance on the regular basis, because sometimes, right, it go up and then we just become convenient. We did not really, find and shopping around, right? And of course, I learn how to maybe raise the deductible limit if you're a good driver, so you can save a lot of money, right? Oh, say by carpooling, walking, biking, and take public transportation. Cancel or reduce extra on your cell phone, on your data and feature, right? Or maybe get a corporate discount, right? A lot of things that we can save a few dollars in there. Would you agree with me, right? And of course, right now, everybody uses a cell phone. Why do you keep a landline at home for? That costs another $40-50 a month, right? A lot of people, they go out, they spend money on those games, right? On those, you play free video game online. Cut down on online subscription. Cancel magazine subscription on automatic renewal. Cancel the gym membership if you don't use it, right? And find an alternate way to exercise. Right, a lot more. Cut down your shopping, right? Credit on all appliance, right? Household service, cleaning, repair. Do it your own. Business tax deduction. If you understand how to be able to lower your tax liability, avoid the ATM fee. Be creative. Refrain from spending on gift. You know what? After this list, would you agree with me that we can find a few dollars here and there that we can save? Maybe $5, $10 here and there. At the end of the month, it's easily for us to be able to save an extra $100 or $200 that sometimes go to somewhere that is not really a good value. Would you agree? And by doing that, this is what it's the key. The key is find some cash flow, positive cash flow like that, right? By what I call, go back to the what we call, the notion of wants versus what? Needs. Spend on things that you need, but be control on the thing that you want is the key. But this is a cash flow decision. It's a decision that we all need to have to make in order for us to be able to save. And then we apply that saving so that we can get rid of that sooner and faster, which I will show you exactly how you can do that, right? So now, here's one thing, right? If you put the cash flow to work for you, can you build out a habit of saving, right? First, maybe a few dollars a day and spending what is left. So here's a question I want to share with you. Do you know that if you control your cash flow, and instead of wasting $6.60 a day, which is 30 days, about $200, and if you can put that $200 per month, which is about $6.6 per day, how much that could grow for you at the 10% annual compound. You would be surprised in the amount that it will accumulate. See, after 10 years, right, it will grow to almost what? $39,573. And if you have 20 years and you keep continuing to do that, it's going to be $142,000. How many people, may I ask, right? After 20 years of work, set up aside at least about $142,000 for their future, for their retirement, for their family. And if you have 30 years, guess what? It's almost $408,000 for a $6.60 a day. Here's my question to you. How many people after 30 years of work have at least set aside $500,000 for their retirement, for their future, for their family? But how many people wasting $6.60 every day? I would say that majority of people waste that $6.60 every day. Would you agree? So what do we need to do? I think it's very important. We need to learn, right, how to control our cash flow and discipline it up over time and find the right place so that you can have our money work for us. Will you agree with me? So tell me then, what can you purchase with $6.60 today? One pack of cigarette. Now, let me share with you that one pack of cigarette, right, can accumulate to almost $408,000 in tomorrow. Will we have more incentive, right, to be able to start doing the right thing? And that's the key, right? And remember, right, when you're saving, you also be able to reach your goal, right? And from workshop 1, we share with you, right? We had to have a goal so that we can be able to get to where we want to in the future. Would you agree with me? Now, not only that, right? Today, I'd like to also share with you some of the notions that we need to see clearly, right? Between what we call assets, liabilities, and net worth. Because the rich people, right? They invest in things that assets that give them, growth in their network. But a lot of people, I would say that normal people or not wealthy people, they buy, they actually, buy liability, right? Why? Let me show you. If you want to win the financial game, we need to know the rules and the language, right? Right? What is an asset? Well, of course, something that has monetary value, right? But what about liability? That's something claimed against our assets, right? Say buying a new house, a new car, not necessary that it is an asset. You have what? You have a mortgage. You agree? Yes. The asset is your equity. But guess what? Right? The liability is your mortgage or the loan that you haven't paid off yet. You agree? So beware of that. So what is our net worth? Our net worth is what? The assets that you have minus the liability. And that is your net worth, right? So now, the question is, sometimes, right, we buy liability, right? But we think that, hey, we build wealth. And that's the challenge a lot of us not see clearly on that. Right? You can buy $1 million house, but guess what? If you have $900-something thousand on the mortgage, can you afford to pay that? It's not that you have $1 million, assets, right? You have a $900,000 liability. Is that clear? So I hope that with that clear, then here, right? Food for thought. Simply put, assets is what? Put money in your pocket. Liability is what? Take money out of your pockets, right? So here's the key. The rich, they buy assets. The middle class, they buy liability, and they think that they are assets. Is that clear? And of course, what do you think? Is a new luxury car, a high-end purse, a tech toy, right? An asset or liability? You already see the clear. But a lot of time, a lot of people buy those things. They think that, oh, I'm acquiring my assets. Is that right? So what about your new home, right? And again, if you can afford that, it's okay. But don't buy something that you cannot afford. You agree? The key thing is, can you reduce, right, the liability and cut down the debt is a key. So with commitment and discipline, right, you can get out of debt. And very, very clear on that. And I hope that we all see that clear so that we can apply that. So today, right, we also have a chart here, right? And again, you can take a picture and you can also do some homework so that you can identify, okay, what is my assets, right? And then from that, right, where it is. So you can do what we call an inventory. So what is the value that you put in it? And then of course, now what is your monthly contribution in that? And utilize that. Guess what? You can easily calculate that how you build your wealth in the future. Does it make sense? So now, when we see that, the next thing I think is very important that we need to look at it is be able to also, right, look at how am I improve my cash flow. So here, right, it's the key thing here is what you are bringing more than what is going out. That's how you be able to control your positive cash flow. You agree? But if we bring it in less than what we pay out, guess what? We have negative cash flow, right? So here's looking at your monthly cash flow calculation, right? Will be based on what? Look at your total income, right? See that? And then from there, right? You have to look at what is, okay, right? Minus, okay. So here you're looking at total assets contribution, which is what you put in, right? Paying for your in terms of saving, paying for your investment, right? Not your car, okay? All right, okay, or your purse, okay? Or what is your total liability contribution, which is what we had to pay for that mortgage, we had to pay for that card bills, right? And then after that, you minus also what is your total monthly expenses. Well, we have bills, right? We have some other costs, right? We have also, gas, utility, and all of that, right? Or of course, a lot of other expenses. So once everything that you put it together, now if you have a positive, right, cash flow, or you have a negative cash flow. And you know what? With a negative cash flow, it's going to be very hard for us to be able to go anywhere. So the ultimate goal is to be able to have what we call a positive cash flow, and then you can use that positive cash flow, right, on other, also investment, so that we can grow our financial future, right? So first thing that here, I want you to also do some exercise with me, okay? Right? Because why? I think as a human, we are what we call creature of habit. So let's say if we can clasp our hand together, right? Put the hand together, clap together. Which thumb is on top? So mine is actually my right hand. But you know what? If you try to clap hand together and you put the left thumb on top of the right one, it feels very uncomfortable. Will you agree? Very awkward. Yeah. Because why? We are creature of habit. Same thing as a lady, right? Hey, cross your arms, right? Let's say cross your arm together. Which one is on top? Again, mine is also the right hand on top. But if you cross your hand and you put your left on top, you feel uncomfortable. You feel awkward, right? Same thing as again, right? On our spending habit or saving habit, may I ask, which one that you put in first? Is that your spending habit or your saving habit? So of course, by changing that habit, it will take some discipline or some undoing. You agree? It's very important. So you know what? Our goal is to make sure that you are changing from a spender to an educator saver. That's the key, right? And for that, right? Remember last time, when we talked about the financial foundation, right? Which is we all need to make sure that we build strong, right? Like building a house, right? The strength is what? From a strong foundation. So to build a strong financial future, we need to have what? Proper protection, debt management, we need to have emergency fund, and we need to have investment. So today, right, we're going to go over with you more closely on the debt management, right? So that we can be able to kind of like minimize our expense so that we can manage to get rid of the debt, right? I think it's very important that we need to do that. The biggest challenge we have in our country is it's so easy, right, to buy things that you cannot afford because you can put down on an installment, right? A credit card or maybe an installment plan. And sometimes, right, without pay it off, guess what? We will pay tons of money into what we call the interest that occur on this debt. Let's say if you bought a house, let's say maybe for a couple $100,000 house, and we have a mortgage on that, right, for maybe at 6%. Guess what? After 30 years, we had to pay almost about 3 times $600,000 for that $200,000 debt. All right. Same thing. No, that is only a 6% interest rate. But you have a credit card, right? And you pay at the 10, 20 or 30% on those credit cards, you know what? For the rest of our life, you just pay on the interest only. If you have a chance to listen to the last workshop, we talk about compound interest. Compound interest work for us and work against us if we don't know how to manage it properly, right? So for that, right, one of the common form of debt. So let's take a look. What is the common form of debt that we occur throughout our lifetime, right? Of course, a house, I think the mortgage, right, is one of the biggest one, I would say, right? And of course, oh my goodness, now these days, right, I see a lot of students, by the time they finish their 4 years of college, $100,000 on debt already. My niece, she finished her doctorate degree, $400,000 student loan. Oh my goodness, more than a house, right? Or you can see that the other one is what? Credit cards, right? And this is the one that we are so easily to acquire. Matter of fact, it's funny. Many times I see that we have a credit card, they give us a limit, and after a while, guess what? They see that you spend a lot, you know, they give you a higher credit so that you can spend more, so you get more into debt. Is that happened to you yet? Right? And of course, the car loans, right? So you can see that the credit card debt is something that can grow fast if we left unchecked, right? But it's also something that we can manage better now if we know how to handle that. So let's take a look. How we be able to manage that and get out of that sooner, right? So here is one thing that we need to look at. The average Americans right now, right, is more in debt than ever before. And you know what? The pandemic doesn't help neither, right? We don't have job, we cannot find work, we still have some expense, right? And then you can see that as of the end of last year, 2020, the overall household debt, right, reached well over $14.56 trillion. Oh my goodness, 14.56 trillions. It's not millions, it's not billions, it's trillions, right? And you can see that the average American carry a credit card debt balance. Okay, guess how much, right? That we have. How much? Over how long? Let look at that. This is almost about what? $5,000 month after month. So guess what? That means that they just keep buying. They cannot afford to pay it all, so they just keep buying more. They just pay, right? So about almost $5,000 to $6,000 balance, and yet they had to pay a very high interest rate. Matter of fact, one thing that people don't know: if you carry a debt balance on your credit card and you buy something new, guess what? The interest they charge you right away on the new balance that you acquire. Just like you buy a shoes or you buy a shirt, guess what? Whatever the balance, right, that you incur that day, the interest will be also occur at the same time. It's not like they wait until at the end that they will charge the interest. So interest actually compounded almost daily. Isn't that scary, right? So the point here is, aren't we all tired of paying interest to someone else? I think we need to do something. Would you agree with me? Right? And for that, let's take a look. Right? Look at the cost. I want you to see clearly, because when we see clearly why it costs this much, then we will find some way, right, to minimize or to get rid of it, right? Here's an example. Let's say if you have a $5,000 credit card debt, the minimum payment is $150, and the APR, which is the annual, rate, the interest rate, they charge you 19%, which is, I saw that some credit card people had to pay almost 27%. Okay, so now over the $200, right? So let's say that if you pay $200, right, $78 is paid toward to the interest on. Okay. And actually $122 is going to the balance. So if you pay $200, okay, not the minimum is $100, you pay $200. Almost what? You look at that, 1/3 is actually more than 1/3, right? It's just pay interest only. You see that, right? So only paying the minimum, right, which is you pay $150. Actually, right, $120 they go into the 78 that already go into the debt, the interest. So if you pay $150, only about half of that go into pay for the debt. So it will take you forever. So only pay the minimum. You will pay how much? $2,000 $164 interest, and it will take you 48 months just to pay off. That's the 4-year total of $7,000, right? For that $5,000 credit card. That's what it costs you. Isn't that outrageous? Right? And let me also share with you the real cost of that. Imagine having saved $5,000 instead of put that $78 each month paying the interest. What would that, into an account that grew 8% annually, right? You don't earn 19% like the bank on their credit card. That's like 8% annually. I want you to see this, right? You look at that. If you can have that $5,000, right, and you only pay $78 extra every month and earn it at 8% for the next 30 years, it will grow to almost about $156,000 with that only $5,000 saved and $78 every month after that, and earn at 8% every year. Well, this is one of the examples how the rich get richer and how the poor get poorer. And I hope that we see that clearly so that we can change our perspective, our paradigms about looking at how we control, also our debt and our investment. Would you agree with me? And for that, let's take a look. Okay, I want you to look at this. Credit card debt. Make a plan so you can live debt free. How? Well, living within your means and not increase your debt. Well, sometimes we already spend it. Now what do we need to do? We stop, right? We need to understand how your credit card works. Let's say the interest you had to pay and the minimum payment so that we can get rid of them faster. And here's the key. Don't apply for more credit or a higher limit. Every time that the credit card always try for you to spend more, right? And because of that, we are just always get higher debt, right? Many credit card issues allow you to freeze your car to prevent new purchase in your account. Do that, right? In addition to that, here's the key: building the habit of using cash or debit and work pay off your balance. I think it's very important that we understand and do these things to help us so that we don't get, for me, get out of the what I call, the bad habit that we've been built for years. Yeah, I still remember, right? When I came to America, I was only 18. I went to school. I went to University of Illinois, right? And you know what? My first lesson for finance is, hey, there's a guy who sit at the campus, and they gave me a free T-shirt with an application for a credit card. And here I was, I don't have money. They give me a credit card, about $200 to spend. I spend them all for first month. I don't have money to pay it back. So guess what? Now I had to pay interest on the $200 and it keep increasing. And by the time I finish college, I get used to spend the money I don't have using the credit card. So I even upgrade, all of my debt. That is the wrong habit. Will you agree with me? All right. And for that, right, here's also another way, right, for us to be able, for me, right, to get out of what we call the spiral, the debt that control us. See, if a person is really in a tough position that they cannot get out of, there may be a need to explore a debt counseling service. Please do so. But guess what? We can start looking at, develop a little bit more habit and again, understand how, right, to not get out of control and start take control. And here's how we work. Because here's the key, right? Is there any way? Yes, we what we call debt roll-up. Today, I'm going to share you one of the what we call a strategy, a method we call the snowball method. It's a systematic approach of paying more than the minimum. As soon as the first balance is paid off, the free up payment amount on that, you use it to pay down on the next debt. So the next debt will be get out even faster. And by doing that, guess what? You can eliminate that at a very fast pace, right? So here's a two approach, okay? The first approach is which one that we need to attack first. All right, so here is the first thing we need. What either the highest interest you attack it first. It said the most money over time. Or the other approach is the smallest balance first, right? pay a little bit more in interest, but has the greatest emotion satisfaction, right? So here you can use it two way, or you can use either way. But let me show you. By being able to use this debt roller, right? You can be able, right, to cut short the time and get that out debt faster. Let me give you one example right here. Okay, a typical debt repayment schedule for a person, which I think would typical. You have a mortgage. Right now this is probably a house in California. In Houston is we're not that high, but now it's about that right now, right? For I still remember, right, a 3-bedroom house 30, 40 years ago. It's only about less than $100,000. Now it's about a couple $100,000. And then a bigger house, a good neighborhood, costs us easily $300,000 to $400,000 or $500,000 right now, right? So with that, right, we can have a mortgage easily. Let's say this person have a mortgage of $338,000 at 5% interest rate, okay? And the monthly payment is $1,860. And it will take him 361 payment, because it's about 30 years, right, to pay off the house. Now, in addition to that, right, he have a 30,000 kind of like, a loan from the bank, right? That personal loan that pay at a 7.5% interest rate, right? And it will take him here 356, payment, right? 356 payments is so you look at that, right? And here you can see, all right, no, this is 1,816 payment for the mortgage. For the car at 27,000 at 4.5% interest rate, right? That you have to pay. You have to pay about 430, right, payment. Same thing is a MasterCard, and of course these cars charge us a very high interest rate, 20%, and you have a home improvement, pay a 29% credit card. Okay, so here you can see, right, a whole bunch of debt, and this is the interest, and this is the minimum payment that he paid, which in this case $2,857 per month that he pay in, and the total balance that he have is about $401,000. All right, so let me share with you one of the strategy that we can be able to use, what we call the debt roll-up. And here's the key. Can you find that $100 extra by doing some of the exercise that I share with you today? By looking at all the expense and find where the money that go that we can cut, few dollar here and there, you can save an extra $100. So what you do, here's the key, right? You put in $100, pay into the least, in terms of balance, which is the credit card, which is a high interest rate, which is 28.8%. So instead of pay $10 a month, you add $100 that you found, right? Which is by cut some of the expense. Now you pay $110. And because of that, right? Here's the key. Instead of here's a minimum payment. Instead of paying 19 months, you see that? Instead of paying 19 months, because you pay 110. So in this case, you only need to have what? 2 months, less than 2 months to pay off that $150. Is that right? So now what is the next thing we need to do? Since we'll be able to get rid of this credit card and we have an extra $110, right? So now with that, after we pay off the first, and of course we still pay the other, the same thing. We don't do anything. But because we already pay off the first credit card, what we need to do is now, right, we be able to use $110 extra, right? We pay off to the second credit card after the 2 months that we get rid of the first one. So instead of just pay $25 minimum, we pay an extra $110, which is we already freeze up. So now, right, you can see that our payment is $135. And instead of 27 months, guess what? 6 months later, right? We'll be able to pay off. So in 6 months, we'll be able to pay off that loan, which is 4 months later, right? And guess what? Same thing. Now we free up 2 credit cards. We have $135 extra, right? Because we no longer have to pay for those 2 credit cards. Now we add $135, right, to the next credit card, the home improvement. So instead of pay $50 monthly premium, guess what? Now, right, we pay $135 extra per month. So together $185. So instead of it take us what? 38 months to pay off, we pay off in 1 year, right? Because we accelerated and keep doing the same thing. Now you can see that how powerful that is, because here we use that 185, we added, we pay off the Visa in 17 months. We pay off the MasterCard in 22 months. We pay off the car, right? The car loan in instead of 5 years, we pay off in what? In 4 years. A 6 year become equal 4 years only. And now we use the same money to pay off the bank note. Guess what? Instead of 120 a month, which is 10 years, we only have 5 years where we pay off. And guess what? Look at our house. Instead of for almost like you look at 30 years, right? Because we add that extra $1,141. So now our total payment for the house is $2,957. In what? We be able to pay off in 204, which is left about 15 years only, right? Which one is better? We get rid of all that in a shorter period of time. And instead of paying all the interest, guess what? Now we get a chance to save. Here you can see. Let me show you the difference, right? Before, right? With our $401,000 current debt, and we pay at $2,857 per month, it takes us 30 years to pay it off. But guess what? Because we add that extra $100, right? We pay off in everything in what? 17 years rather than 30 years. And we save almost about $130-something thousand on the interest. What's the difference? Just an additional $100 can make. What if you can find an extra $100? $200. Look, let's say if $200, you pay it off in 16 years. And extra $300, we paid off everything off in 15 years, half. And you can save almost you look at the interest that we save. Incredible. Is that great? Right? And for that, right, you can see, write down your current debt account, right, to begin your own debt draw up plan. And matter of fact, if you look at it, we have you can take a scan of the what is that, the scan right there, right? We have also some the what we call worksheet that you can use that so that you can see how you can go to pay off your debt sooner. Okay, so use that, right? We'll help you, right? So with that, right, here's another thing that we have to look at, the rules of credit. Okay, so this is just like to test us also. If after what we share with you, now are we on the same page, right? So true or false? Once a credit line is paid off, it's a good idea to close the account. True or false? False. Do not close the account, because you close the account will affect your credit. Is that clear? So guess what? Just go ahead and pay off and you don't use it. We don't recommend that you close all your credit line, because it's important to establish a good credit score so that when you buy a house or refinance your house, you can get a better rate, or buy a car. Make sense? Now, true or false? You see, a high credit score may help you receive better lending terms for large purchases in the future, right? And of course, please make sure that get some of your free, your credit report to know where you at, so that you can improve that. And you can get it to so many, mediums. It's free. You don't need to pay for that, right? Yeah, you can get that from Equifax or also from TransUnion, right? So again, let me go ahead and summarize it with you. Would you agree with me that develop a good long-term habit will build up our credit, and you manage your finance with responsibility and discipline? And that's all we need. Responsibility and discipline and long-term good habit will help us to control our financial future. And you know what? Not only now we know to apply it, we can also show our children, right? And that now we build a very strong foundation on what we call debt management, so that next we can also learn how to be able to invest for the future, right? So here's the key. Spend less, save more, and earn more. So what will your change to save more money? Well, there's many ways. Let me show you, right? And then how will your family feel when you accomplish your plan to become debt-free? Isn't that feeling good? I believe so, right? Who are you going to work for every day? My question. Your employer? For the government? For the bank? I believe that we go to work because we want to make sure, right, that we have something for ourselves, our family. But we have to have a clear goal with that. Would you agree with me? right? Those who do you want to benefit the most from your hard-earned money? Of course, we want to make sure that ourselves, our family, right? So for that, so here is, let me share with you how you increase some of your cash flow, okay? Okay, first one, I don't think it's easy, but ask nicely for a raise if you have a good boss, right? Well, if you do well, here, let me warn you. Every single year, right, you may got a raise, let's say maybe 2%, and we're happy. Oh my goodness, my boss is really, I did well. My boss gave me a raise. Let me share with you. You don't even get a raise if you get less than 3%. Why? The inflation is 3%. So if we get no raise, that means we lost 3%. And if we get 2% raise, we still now earn, we earn more, but our value, right, of the what we earn is less than what is year before, because the inflation is 3%. So make sure that, hey, you get a right raise. At least minimum is just for inflation adjusted. Would you agree? But if you did a good job, ask them for a raise, right? What else can we do? Work overtime, right? Of course, work on a part-time job if you need it, right? For me, well, everything's, depend on how we be able to prioritize. We may work hard, build up some assets, and then after that we can relax. But everything need to have a clear plan, right? And of course, right, you can also start a part-time business, right? There is many ways that we can increase our cash flow. If you need help, we're more than happy to show you the way, right? And of course, right, today there are many opportunities. Just remember to never lose sight on your goal and the reason why. That's very important, right? And here's a question I would like to ask you. Will you shrink your dream to fit your income? Or will you increase your income to fit your dream? Let's say maybe two. I believe that we need to make that transition, what I call paradigm shift, right? So that we can be able to get what we want, what our goal, by changing, instead of shrinking our dream, guess what? Increase your income, increase your cash flow, right? You'll be able to fit your dream, all right? And for that, I like to summarize this with this, right? This workshop, right? You can find ways to save money by consistently re-evaluating your monthly expense, right? In addition to that, right, we can manage our debt and plan to pay them off faster if you use the debt roll-up strategy that we share with you, right? And discipline. And don't get more debt. That's the key. What good is it to pay that and get into more debt again? You agree? So learn how to be able to discipline and control and build a strong, consistent good habit. Right? Bad habit is very easy to get rid of. That's why we need discipline. And with good habit, with discipline, we can keep, because good habit is easy to get rid of. All right? And of course, in addition, please save more and spend less. And then guess what? You can also find ways so that you can earn more, right? So with that, what else did you learn that will help you to increase your cash flow? I hope that information I share with you today sheds some light so that we can be able to start re-evaluate ourselves and look for a better future, right? Imagine, right? Do you think if people understood what liability were, then they would have less debt? Will you agree? Right? Good living debt-free be a less stressful way to live? I believe so. One of the things I see that in our country, because of finance, because of those stressful, people also get all kind of disease. You agree? Right? A time when you had no debt, no payment, how much simpler life would be. In addition to that, if you could use your income for building financial freedom, how much better would life look and feel with no financial liability, right? What would it feel like for you? Once we see that, we have that in mind, we will find a way, right? So that we can be able to achieve whatever goal and whatever that we know that, okay, it's not only good for us, but also for our family. So I want to share with you, right? The next step, what we need to do. And this is in one of our campaign that throughout our community, right? We have Neil, share with us. Just want to share that I am learning, right, with our campaign, which I am applied to my own finances. I follow the financial foundation by heart. I am proud to say that I have proper protection and I have wiped out any debt so that every month all of my credit cards show zero balance. I have also built a significant emergency fund that can cover my monthly expense for at least a year. As for the workshop state, right? It is not how much money we make, but how much money that we save is what matters the most. So for that, only you, no one else, can take the step necessary to control your future. And you know what? One of the greatest miracles is that you can change your life simply by changing the way that you think. And for that, and another assignment for those that listen to the workshop today, please connect it to the person, right, that you feel like can help you on the finance. I know Sister Nairi there, and later on, if you liked it, I can be more than happy to be able to help you on whatever financial goal that you want to achieve. But at least, right, I want you to be educated. We want you to be educated financially and be part of that 30 million family, financial educated, right? Join our campaign and bring someone to the next workshop. They will learn some of the fundamental financial, knowledge so that they can take control of their own financial future, right? You can see that, all the workshop that beside this workshop, we had prepared with proper protection, your wealth, your health, right? Understand asset accumulation strategy, and also fulfilling long-term goals. And of course, workshop number 1, that we have what we call building and saving wealth, right? And for that, right, work with a financial professional to help you to improve your financial strategy, so that will help you to have a very, very strong overall holistic, in terms of plan. All right, be strong, right? And I'm really blessed also to have Pastor Glenn here, because be strong spiritually, be strong mentally, be strong physically, but we also need to be strong financially. And with that, thank you. I let me go ahead and stop sharing from here. Right, and I want to kind of like pass the button back to Nairi, because we probably may have a few minutes for Q&A if you need it, or maybe any comments or any input. We would appreciate that. Okay, Nairi.
Thank you, Manly. We appreciate your time, and the fact that you went over some of those things in detail gave us better idea of the strategies that we need to put in place in order to get where we need to and want to be. It does help by clarifying and giving examples of what it is that we need to place. So thank you so much for taking the time. I'm not leaving until we actually close out with a prayer. But before we do that, did anyone have any questions, any comments, anything they wanted to share before we close out? All right. I did put my information in the chat, and I'll do that after every workshop for those who need it. If you have any questions, need any clarification, or need any help whatsoever, please feel free to reach out to me. I can direct you or help you to maneuver to make sure that we get to where we all need to be. All right. Pastor Glenn, can you close us out in prayer, please?
Well, thank you so much. I think the only part of the workshop Roshika heard was a 4.5% raise.
Yes.
Sorry, Pastor Glenn.
Now may the grace of God and sweet communion rest, rule, and abide with us until we meet again. Let all of God's children say amen. We love you, and you have a great night.
Amen. Amen. All right, have a good night. And I'm looking forward to see you next workshop. All right?
Next Monday, guys. Take care.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
God bless you all.
God bless you all.